most of us don't go to the romance section of Barnes & Nobles and pick up one to have everybody die in the end.
We're Heather and Natalie, the Romance Rippers, romance addicts and authors. We're here to help you craft stories that leave your readers begging for more. This is the time to get that story out of your head and give book lovers the emotionally satisfying ships they crave. Now let's get to the heart of romance. Let's talk about Sydney. Let's talk about you and me.
I'm Natalie.
I'm Heather.
We're the Romance Rippers.
Welcome. Today we're here to talk about the basics of romance and what that really looks like as a genre.
The romance as a genre is asking the answer to the core question of, can I have true love? Can these characters who I come to care about have true love? Because if they can have true love, so can I.
And I think that is very much part of why romance as a genre is not just popular right now. It's been popular hundreds of years. A very human desire and getting to see that.
You probably want to know, like, how can I answer this question? How can I take my characters from their messy beginning and take them through an emotionally satisfying journey to the end where they get to have the true love and the commitment that they desperately desire?
I have 9 conventions of these romantic genre basics that I think are really helpful, especially for me. I found them helpful with working on my current romance work to just make sure I'm hitting, or we're hitting, a lot of those emotional beats.
The first one is the protagonist intends to avoid intimacy and thus an intimate romantic relationship. They've just moved to a new town and they are not interested in the sexy person over there who their best friend wants to set them up with because they've sworn off men or women or whomever.
Sworn off romance.
Sworn off romance.
Number 2, it is the antagonist desires to be intimate with the protagonist and usually pursues them.
Which always is a fun thing when in contrast with our protagonist who is determined not to be in a romantic relationship, especially with this person.
The antagonist, which is in romance genre, is actually the romantic interest, is your antagonist.
The antagonist is essentially, in story, a catalyst of growth. The catalyst that sets the character or protagonist on their journey. In this case, it's the romantic interest. Convention number 3 is the protagonist and antagonist have something to offer that the other lacks. Whether that can sometimes be a character trait. It
could be socially.
It could be socially. These complementary traits, whether they're internal or external, make it difficult for the other, particularly the protagonist, to leave the antagonist behind, and instead they make each other better.
Convention number 4. At least one rival competes for the protagonist's affection.
That can be another character. So could be your love triangle. Another classic one for a lot of, again, 90s rom-coms, the working woman who really her other big relationship is with her job and her work and her navigating that. And also finding room for love.
And in the end, you'll see her being torn between her new love and the promotion in New York City. And she has to leave everything behind. And so that's another way. The rival is often another person, but does not have to be.
And I feel like that's also interesting to play with when that rival is very much internal on the protagonist part, with when it's connected to their misbelief and them having to come to terms with maybe what they thought about themselves and not being worthy about love isn't actually true.
Number 5, some people support the relationship and some people try to impede this new relationship. And so you've got your probably your best friend, the trope of the best friend who is super for the girl getting with this new guy and she does everything she can to help, whereas the guy's evil mom is doing everything she can to break them up, including trying to pay the girl off or ruin her family or whatever.
We love that feeling of there's a barrier and needing to break that down or just win over that barrier. So number 6 of these conventions is that there are intimacy rituals that are built between the couple as their relationship grows and deepens. For some of them, it's a good bickering trope. You know, they're constantly verbally sparring.
It can look like sharing notes,
remembering each other's coffee orders, the intimacy of being seen and known.
Exactly. And a lot of this is small stuff. This is the stuff that makes you feel like, oh, these two people actually can be together, and it feels like love, not just lust.
They're interested in getting to know one another.
Yeah, and they like who the other person is. And then number 7, that in the story more than just the relationship is at stake. And this is really where the finding the balance of this one, it can be one of the most tricky for romance authors. In a lot of romance, the relationship becomes the only thing going on in the story. And then in others, the romance gets lost amongst other things. You start to wonder, are you even reading a romance anymore? But essentially, this comes down to the characters, specifically the protagonists, need to have more going on in their life that they're worried about than just this budding romantic relationship. They might have problems with their job, they might have problems with their family, there might be war going on. We need that in order to create a fully fleshed characters in a fully fleshed world. As an author, if your interest starts to become more about like that, not like just say like the world not ending, then romance is probably not your primary content genre. Romance is just a subgenre, a subplot.
Convention number 8, the protagonist undergoes an internal change before finally embracing a committed relationship with the antagonist.
I think is like the crux of any story, but especially romance, because if your character hasn't actually gone on a journey where they're forced to change, you don't have a story.
It's a very human desire to, in general, want to better yourself and see yourself in happier times or happier position. You have to have your character have their flaws, especially at the beginning. And potentially they might have a blind eye to what their own flaws are. But if you're aware of that as the author, you have so much room to play with in that character's growth, and potentially maybe their growth is becoming more self-aware and seeing how they present themselves or how they interact with people.
Part of the emotional satisfaction of romance is taking a character who at the very beginning either didn't believe they were capable of being in love, or they actually were too messy to have a healthy relationship. Relationship, and that this 8th convention requiring that they go through the internal change in order to be able to embrace that relationship is what's so satisfying. It is what reminds us as readers that we too are worthy of love as we grow.
Number 9, the happily ever after.
Most of us don't go to the romance section of Barnes and Nobles and pick up one to have everybody die in the end.
So in tying in with that happily ever after, there's usually a positive character arc like we talked about. There's generally a positive character growth so that they are ready and open to receiving love, because you have to be able to receive it. Or if it's a negative character arc, you might be leaning more into the tragedy.
So you have Romeo and Juliet, which is a romantic genre, but it's a tragedy, and especially because that's tied in with a morality tale. But most of the time, we readers want to know that the couple are going to be together for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, like if I'm picking up a romance, I know what I'm about. I want a happy ever after, like with Miss Austen.
Yeah,
I know I can trust her.
Right,
I'm in good hands when it comes to getting a happy ending, and those are the romantic genre conventions.
Are really going to set yourself up for success in bringing readers what they really crave with delicious shippable characters.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks for coming with us along this journey, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye. Thanks for joining us today. Like this video if you found it helpful, and subscribe for more romance writing tips and tea on Thursdays. You can also find us on other socials at The Romance Rippers. And before you go, share one of your tried and true romance writing tips below. We'll see you soon.